Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Ever scroll through your feed and get this like weird sense of, haven't I seen this before?
Mm.
Like it's the same kind of posts, same opinions, even the same cat memes, you know?
Yeah.
Like we're stuck in a loop or something.
It's like that digital deja vu.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's not just you.
Right.
There's this thing, it's called the Memetic wave. And basically, it's this wave of like shared ideas and stuff online that spreads like wildfire.
Right.
And today, on our deep dive, we're going to look at why everyone online is starting to sound, well, kind of the same.
Yeah.
Have you noticed this happening?
It's really fascinating to think about. Like, there are all these unseen things that kind of shape how we experience the digital world.
It's like there are these invisible architects behind the screen designing our whole experience online. But where do we even begin?
Right.
Like, how does this mimetic wave even start?
Well,
What
yeah.
makes certain things like go viral and leave us with this feeling of sameness?
Well, let's think about the internet like a house for a second.
Okay.
Every house, no matter how big or small, is built on a blueprint.
Okay.
It's that foundational plan that, determines its structure.
Right.
And just like a house, the internet also has this blueprint, these core values baked into its design from the very beginning.
Okay. I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So the internet's a house.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say are some of those like foundational values that are shaping our online experience?
Well, think about those big ideas coming out of Silicon Valley back in the early days of the internet.
Yeah.
It was all about individualism. That idea that anyone, anywhere, could like express themselves, build their own platform, become their own brand.
Oh, absolutely. That whole influencer culture we see now, it's like
Yeah.
woven into the fabric of the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And along with that, you have this huge emphasis on freedom of expression, that
Yeah.
entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
These were like the foundational pillars of the internet written into its DNA.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. As universal as those values might seem, they can actually lead to different experiences for different people from different cultures.
That makes a lot of sense because, I mean, we always talk about the internet being this global thing,
Right.
but it doesn't always feel like a level playing field for everyone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Take, for example, that idea we were just talking about, building your own personal brand. In some cultures, that's very empowering.
Sure.
But for someone from a culture that prioritizes community over, self-promotion, that constant pressure to stand out can feel inauthentic,
Right.
even stressful.
It's like they were handed this blueprint for a house that doesn't even fit their lifestyle.
Exactly.
And it makes you wonder if the foundation itself can be so different. What happens when you factor in all the other layers of the internet?
Right.
Yeah. So we've got the blueprint, the foundation, shaping the internet.
Right.
Right. But it can't just be those initial values shaping everything we see, right? I mean, the internet's come a long way from those like early chat rooms and dial-ups.
Oh, yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's where things get even more interesting, It's
Okay.
not just the foundation of this internet house that shapes our experience. It's also the invisible architects, right? Who are constantly like tinkering with the layout and deciding what we see
Right.
and when we see it.
You're talking about algorithms, right?
Yeah,
That word is everywhere these days.
it really is.
I feel like we interact with like a dozen of them before I even finish my coffee in the morning.
Oh, at least.
Right.
Yeah, algorithms are like these high-tech interior decorators,
Okay.
They come in and like rearrange your furniture while you're out. They
Gotcha.
analyze everything, like what you click on, what you
Yeah.
like, what you spend time looking at.
Yeah.
And then based on that data,
Mm-hmm.
they decide what you should see next, right?
Okay.
It's all about personalization.
Okay. That sounds efficient, but also kind of creepy.
Right.
Like, are they really trying to personalize my experience, or are they just limiting me,
Yeah.
narrowing my perspective without me even realizing it?
That is the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
And it gets right to the heart of how these algorithms actually contribute to this mimetic wave we keep talking about.
Oh,
So it's like this,
Ooh.
let's say you're really into something specific,
Okay.
Maybe it's music.
Yeah.
And let's say you like develop this like real passion for jazz.
Oh, man. Love me some jazz.
Me too. There's just something about it,
Yeah, for sure.
So let's say you're on this Miles Davis kick.
Okay.
You're listening to Kinda Blue on repeat.
Classic.
So good, right?
Always a good choice.
And the algorithm picks up on that.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, this person is into jazz. Right.
Got to give them more jazz.
Yeah.
And suddenly your whole feed is like trumpet solos and like bebop classics,
Right.
which at first glance sounds amazing.
Yeah. More of what I love.
Exactly.
It's like having like a personal DJ who just knows my taste perfectly.
Exactly. But here's the catch.
Okay.
By constantly feeding you content that's similar to what you already consume,
Yeah.
it's inadvertently creating this thing called an echo chamber.
An echo chamber.
Yeah.
So I'm like trapped in this feedback loop and only exposed to this like tiny slice of the internet.
Yeah.
That just reinforces what I already think and like.
Exactly.
And what's the problem with that?
Well, think about it this way. The echo chamber, it creates this illusion of agreement and shared reality.
Okay.
It's comfortable.
Well, it's familiar.
Sure.
But it can also make it really easy to forget that other perspectives even exist.
So while the rest of the internet, with all its like diversity and different viewpoints, just passes us by,
Yeah, exactly.
we're missing out on all of that because we're stuck in this little like curated digital bubble.
That's right.
So we're being subtly influenced by the internet's values. We're being steered by these algorithms.
Yeah.
We might not even realize how much it's changing how we see things and how we think.
It's true.
That's kind of unsettling, right?
It really is, yeah.
It's almost like we're building onto that internet house.
Yeah.
But we keep using the same blueprints and the same materials.
Right.
So we just end up with room after room that looks exactly the same. It's efficient, but is it really what we want?
That's the big question.
Right. So how do we break free?
Yeah.
Like, how do we become more conscious, I guess, digital citizens
Yeah.
and navigate this memetic wave thing in a way that's like empowering and not limiting?
Right, because it can't just be about like knowing that it's happening. You know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just delete all my social media and like go live in the woods.
Right.
So what can we do? Like, are there things we can actually do to start like navigating this digital world more intentionally?
Well, I think awareness is a really crucial first step.
Yeah.
Like just realizing that these forces are at play.
Yeah.
And that the internet isn't this neutral, objective space that we might think it is.
Okay.
Once we kind of like understand the rules of the game, then we can start to play it more consciously.
Right.
And there's some very practical things we can do.
Okay, like what?
One powerful practice is to diversify your information diet.
Ooh, I like that. Diversify your information diet. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that look like in practice?
So instead of, just reading the same news sources or following the same types of accounts online,
Right.
branch out a little bit,
Okay.
Even if it means encountering viewpoints that like challenge your own a little bit.
So instead of getting all my news from just like one place, I should like see how different countries are reporting on the same thing.
Exactly. Or follow experts outside of my usual like fields of interest.
Right. Okay. So get perspectives from other places.
Yeah, it's about getting that 360-degree view of the world,
Yeah.
not just seeing it from one angle.
Makes sense.
And it applies to more than just the news, right?
Okay.
Like the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, even just the people you follow online.
Yeah.
Just try exploring those things outside of your normal interests,
Right.
your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's like, for your mind, making sure you're getting all your nutritional needs met.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're talking about consciously shaping like what we consume.
Mm-hmm.
But what about what we contribute to the internet?
Right.
Because we're not just, passively consuming here.
Totally.
We're creating content, we're commenting, we're sharing,
We're all creators now.
Right. So does that play into this whole memetic wave thing too?
Absolutely, because remember that house analogy we're using?
Yeah.
We're not just living in this internet house.
Right.
We're constantly renovating it, adding our own little personal touches with every post, every comment, every,
So it's not just about being mindful of what we, take in from the internet.
Right.
It's also about what we put out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we're all contributing to this, shared digital space, whether we realize it or not.
That's right.
It's like we each have our hand in, shaping this overall design of the internet.
Exactly. Think about it this way. Every time you post something online, you're adding a new piece of furniture to that internet house.
Okay.
Or a new coat of paint. This new detail that's shaping the overall look and feel.
Yeah.
You're curating your own little corner of the internet.
Okay.
But all those individual corners add up.
Right. And that create that larger experience.
Sure.
Wow. It's kind of powerful when you think about it like that, but also a little daunting.
Sure.
What if I, like, accidentally contribute to the problem?
Right.
Like, what if I'm unknowingly reinforcing those echo chambers?
Yeah.
Or, like, spreading misinformation even?
It's a valid concern.
Right.
And it speaks to the importance of being intentional
Yeah.
about what we're kind of putting out there into the digital world,
Right.
It's not just about adding to the noise.
Yeah.
It's about considering the impact that our contributions have.
Right.
Not just on ourselves, but on other people too.
So before we hit that share button, or before we post that comment, it's good to ask, what am I contributing here?
Yeah.
Am I, like, amplifying something good? Am I just adding to the noise? Or am I offering something, thoughtful and considered?
I love that. It's
Yeah.
about recognizing that we all have agency here.
Oh, right.
We're not just along for the ride on this memetic wave.
Yeah.
We can help shape, a more diverse, more balanced, more interesting internet
Right.
for ourselves and for future generations of internet users.
It's actually pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
But it's easy to feel, like, a little overwhelmed with all this talk about algorithms and echo chambers.
Yeah.
It feels like, how much of a difference can one person really make
Right.
when it's, like, up against these massive forces that are, totally beyond my control?
That's where I think the power of just like awareness and mindful engagement comes in.
Okay.
Even small intentional actions can have like this ripple effect.
So what's, like, a small, practical step
Yeah.
that I can take to start making a difference?
One thing you can do is audit your digital neighborhood.
Okay, audit my digital neighborhood.
Yeah, like who are you following online?
Okay.
What pages do you like? What kind of content are you sharing?
Yeah.
Are you surrounding yourself with a variety of different voices and perspectives, or are you just kind of like reinforcing that echo chamber?
Okay, so audit my digital neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Check. It's like spring cleaning, but for my online life.
Exactly.
Right.
What else?
Be a conscious creator.
Okay.
Like, before you hit that post button or share something, just take a second to consider, what am I contributing here?
Right.
Am I, like, amplifying something positive? Am I just adding to the noise? Am I offering something thoughtful and considered? It's like thinking of our online presence as an extension of ourselves in the real world,
Yeah, I love that.
right? Like, if our online world was, like, a curated art exhibit,
Ooh, I like that.
right? What would we want it to say about us? What kind of experience would we want to create for other people who, like, walk into that space?
Exactly. And just like in the real world, all of our actions online, they have consequences.
Sure.
They shape not only our own experiences, but the experiences of everyone around us.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected
Right.
in this kind of vast digital ecosystem.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It really is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like we've uncovered some of the, like, hidden blueprints of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
We've wrestled with the power of these algorithms, and we've explored our own roles as, like, digital architects and curators, and,
We really are.
that's a lot to take in, but
It is, but it's exciting.
it's empowering
It is.
when you think about all the agency that we actually have to, like, shape our experiences online.
Absolutely.
And for everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has empowered you
Yeah.
to think a little differently about your online life and how you engage with this crazy, ever-evolving digital landscape.
Absolutely.
You're not just along for the ride.
You have a choice.
You have the power to shape the internet you want to see, so go forth.
Be the change.
Be mindful, be curious, be the wave of change that you want to see online, and until next time.
Yeah. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.